Hello, lovely Patreons. It is Sean with your energy check for the upcoming week. I want to start, of course, by saying thank you for being here with me. It is such a gift to me that you are part of this community. We are going to do our reading today using a deck that is relatively new to me. It's called the Goddess Within Oracle. And I like to be able to learn the decks. A lot of times we readers will read cards intuitively, not just with tarot. With tarot, you can learn the system or you can read it intuitively by just like seeing what messages come to you as you look at the pictures on the cards. With oracle decks, we definitely do a lot of intuitive interpretation, because most oracle decks will not just have the imagery but also have a key word on each card. This particular deck has no keyword in terms of theme, but it does have the name of each goddess on it. And given that I primarily do goddess readings, I like to focus on the rise of the feminine and bringing more awareness to the female deities of various cultures, all the cultures if I could. I got this deck. And so I've spent a little bit of time reading. Like, I pull a card every morning and then I read what this particular deck creator says about that particular goddess. This one is very interesting to me because I want to say, has come up with a lot of stuff, a lot of lore or stuff that's not lore, I should say. And some of what she has written in her guidebook about some of these goddesses, I'm like, maybe. But one of the other things that drew me, or one of the things that drew me to this deck, not just the fact that it was an additional goddess deck to add to my collection, is some of the artwork on here is just staggeringly gorgeous. Look at that. And then on top of that, there are several goddesses in here I've never heard of before. For instance, like this one. I'm assuming her name is pronounced Thetis. It looks like it's probably from the Greek tradition. You know, this is the depiction of Sekhmet, who is Egyptian. Aphrodite. And this is like mixing what we know of Aphrodite with what we know of Venus, which is the Roman equivalent of Aphrodite. Or I should say, not necessarily what we know of them, but the way Venus is depicted in that great work of art. I can't remember which of those artists did that. But Aphrodite was born, I think she like just popped out of the ocean or something like that. There's a lot of popping out of things in the Greek tradition, particularly when it comes to the goddesses. Athena sprang from Zeus's head and all of that. So, focusing in on you and your upcoming week, let's see which goddess, ooh, look at that, represents the energy of your upcoming week. You actually got two. Speaking of the Greek goddesses, you got Artemis, who is goddess of the hunt. She can also be associated with focus. Sometimes she's associated with motherhood because she does spend her time in the woods, and the woods is touch the idea of Mother Nature, abundance, like fertility is the word I'm actually looking for. And then you guys also just got Walu, who is a goddess I don't even know of, so that's exciting. We get to learn somebody new today together. And Walu here is a child. And is that a meerkat that she's holding? We will find out. I will tell you what is coming to me intuitively prior to my grabbing the guidebook to learn more about Walu. The energy of your week seems to be that there is a need for you to focus on things that you may sometimes relegate as being childish or childlike. I'm getting something around you connecting or reconnecting with things that used to bring you joy. So if you used to like camping, if you used to like gardening, if you used to like baking, but you haven't had time for that, if you shopping, it doesn't have to be something that's outdoors, but something that, and shopping is not specifically a child's activity, neither is baking, but I'm getting something around you having liked it as a child. So for instance, I grew up in the 80s and we used to like to just go hang out at the mall, so just hanging out at the mall does reconnect to childhood for me, and sometimes can re-energize me to feeling that kind of energy that you have as a child, that energy of anything being possible. Um, and the need for you to focus on things that you again might have of late relegated as childlike is because it will bring a return to joy for you. I'm getting that there has been a period of intense stress, and you don't necessarily have a habit of finding easy or free ways to unwind. And that's the only way children ever, like, children are never rare, they're rarely wound up because they have few responsibilities. There are, of course, those children who are living in demanding or dysfunctional environments, and they could definitely benefit from some stress relief. But typically speaking, children, they're always in a state of play. They're always in a high vibration, very easily can slip into the energy of joy. And this has been missing from you for a time now. And what I'm getting is that if you continue to focus on just work, just responsibility, just obligation, and without finding a way to unwind from the intensity of your work and responsibilities, you are going to pop. It's like you're getting tighter and tighter and tighter, like an arrow, and you're going to pop. The string on a bow, I should say, not an arrow, but the string on a bow, and you're going to pop. And I'm getting that you will fly, you will soar, you will re-energize, reinvigorate, and therefore do better at any work or other obligations you have because of finding this way to unwind. Now, the reason why the focus on unwinding this week is a focus on unwinding in ways that connect you to how you felt as a child or joys that you had as a child is because sometimes as adults, our way of unwinding actually just causes more problems, okay? So for instance, if the habit for rewinding is going out drinking, what that does to the body, and this is not judgment or shade on anybody who enjoys their alcohol, but it doesn't actually rejuvenate. It does the opposite. It dehydrates. It makes you tired. And also, alcohol is a depressant. And so whatever things have caused you stress leading up to going to, quote, unwind with the drink, those problems are still there, as they would be if you even did a healthy way of unwinding. But your perception of them, your viewpoint of them will possibly be even more dark because of what alcohol just naturally does. Now, does everybody have the same way of reacting to alcohol? No, but it is in its chemical nature a depressant no matter who you are. Whether you are a person that's got like addictive tendencies or not. So there's a twofold benefit for you with, if you used to like to play Twister, one of the games that I always associate with my childhood is the game Sorry, and I was, I guess that was over a year ago now at my sister's house, and she's got twin girls, and they have the game Sorry at her house, I think. Or maybe we were just talking about it. I don't know. But it just brought back so many memories. And no, they couldn't have had it there because I would have wanted to play. So even something like that, the little memory game, Simon, that's a good way to unwind, relax the brain, and play. Particularly if you're someone who doesn't feel like you want to run around, jump about, be too physical, but still want to tap into that play energy. Any kind of game that is a puzzle or a memory game like Simon is a good way for you to do that. Candyland, any of that stuff. All right. So that's what I am just getting intuitively. And again, it's going to rejuvenate you, which will help you function better in the responsibilities, in the work. And whatever progress you've been seeing yourself make, you're going to soar even more. It's like getting to a state of like you'll fly. That sounds like hyperbole, and in a way it is, but you won't be so weighted down anymore. I'm also getting to connect with animals. If you have a closeness with any animals, if you have a pet or someone you know and are close with has a pet, spend some time with that animal. If I recall correctly, the goddess Diana, who is the Roman equivalent of Artemis, is associated with the animal kingdom, as well as we have clearly here Walu holding a little, I think, is that a kangaroo? That's probably a kangaroo. In fact, Walu is probably in Australia. I wonder if this is an Aboriginal character or personality. Let's find out. Okay, so I've grabbed my guidebook. I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's probably a kangaroo. And she is Aborigine or something, but we'll find out. Walu, 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 here you go. Okay, so it says here in my guidebook, connect with your inner child to access your past hurts and current joys. Well, I don't know if you need to spend time in hurt. I'm just going to go ahead and nix that right now for you, because it definitely felt to me like the guidance coming through for you is to focus less on that which is heavy and more on that which is light. Like even in the depiction of Artemis here and how she's like flying, you know, lightness, 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 elevation, not so much the healing. So I might editorialize as I read from this guidebook, just because, again, as I said earlier, I got mixed feelings about this deck creator's what she writes about these goddesses. So I will give you her exact words so that you have access to that. You can do with it what you will, but you might hear me say something along the lines of, what is she talking about? That's crazy. So prepare yourself for, Sean. Okay, so it says here, the mythology of Australia's first peoples, known as the Dreaming, dates back 65,000 years. It centers around the belief that Earth is continually being created by dreaming spirits, the physical embodiments of the animals, people, and various aspects of the land. In the dreaming of the I don't know how to say that, Yolngu people, it's spelled Yolngu, Longu people, Yongo, Yongo, I don't know, people. Walu is heralded as Sun Woman. Walu and her daughter Bara journeyed through the sky daily, spreading heat wherever they passed. That almost makes me wonder if this depiction here isn't actually of the child Bara versus Walu, because that's not a woman. But we'll find out. Maybe. One day, Walu realized their combined heat not only provided warmth, but scorched the lands, making the earth too hot. Walu made the difficult choice to send her daughter back east, while she continued journeying to the west to bring back the sun and ensure the earth's fertility persevered. Walu, that's a choice. How old was this daughter? Okay, so it says here, Walu's message: your inner child is the gateway to accessing your deepest emotions and richest joys. I agree with that. Due to the nature of living in a dual plane designed for learning and growth, humans are like children, even when fully grown. You are here in a state of spiritual amnesia to develop wisdom while seeking your needs to be met, just like your child counterparts. Unfortunately, adults are not treated with the same level of gentleness and understanding as children. If you struggle to love yourself, practice the art of self-soothing via the medium of the inner child. It can feel easier to speak with your inner child with tenderness when you are not used to positive self-talk. I feel like that's a contradictory sentence, but okay. When you're scared, place your hand over your heart and say, I know you are scared, and that's okay. I am going to protect you. I'm asking you to be brave and do the scary thing because you will feel so proud of yourself hereafter. When you feel sad, use words like, I know you are disappointed and so sad right now, and you are allowed to be. I do agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. There's this concept in psychology of reparenting, and particularly if you have traumas that are associated with your childhood, being the adult parent for that inner child part of yourself is, I want to say, one of the strongest ways to heal and move forward, because oftentimes we'll have blocks or blind spots that are really just the fear still inside of us from what we experienced as a child, not allowing us to see clearly, perceive objectively, or move forward freely. So I do agree with that statement. That is very, very helpful to recognize when you are struggling with a difficult emotion and speaking to the child part of yourself, the scared part of yourself, because it's not an actual child inside of you. It's a part of the brain that people have deemed the inner child. I believe it's the limbic part of the brain, but don't quote me on that. And then she says here, eventually your inner being will feel so supported that this practice will create an automated feeling of safety. I do think it requires a little bit more than that, just to put it out there. If you did not have a positive childhood home, consciously choosing to become your parent can assist you with working through the pain of the past. And then finally she says, working with the inner child can also be a direct source of experiencing joy. Part of the experience that Earth has to offer is enjoying the little pleasures of creation. Be present with your inner child and make time to partake in activities for the sake of joy, not just for productivity. You know, the awareness that taking time to rest is necessary for us to be more productive has grown. More and more people are advocating for this. More and more people realize this and carve out these times, or try to carve out these times for themselves, where we're no longer looking at doing nothing as doing nothing, but we see it as doing something, which is resting in order to be more productive when it is time to do that. I would say the same is true for play. The same is true for finding ways to have fun, to play, and to connect with non-obligatory energy would also have that same effect of making you more productive, again, when it's time to be productive. Don't turn the game into a chore or into a job or an assignment. You know, let it be play for the sake of play. And that is the energy of your week. That is the energy of your week. You might find yourself forced into playing. So because that's coming up as the energy of your week, you might find that, like, say for instance, your job is making you guys go on some retreat and play a bunch of, what's it called? Is it called? Group bonding kinds of games. What are those things called? I'm losing the word right now. Team building games, and activities and exercises. Or it could be that your kids just won't leave you the heck alone, and they're like, mommy, and they really are not taking no for an answer, and they're trying to make you play. It could be that your guy is in a really childish mood, and instead of like bucking up into, it's very easy for us to become like the mother, being in mother energy with guys when they're being immature. Like, even those of us like me who have no children, it's very easy to turn into that, because of how their immaturity often does disrupt our plans or our life in that moment. Go with them in that energy this time. Go with the flow. So like in my case, if my guy Justin, if he says like, "Oh babe, look, the Hulk," instead of my saying, "No woman over 55, sorry, not 55. I'm not 55, but no adult woman cares about the Hulk, especially one that's over 45." Instead I might say something like, "Oh yeah, that's a cool rendering of him," or something like that. Or again, playfulness in the energy. He might come to you physically playful. So go down that road with him. You will not regret it. This is the week for you to tap into the spirit of play. Play video games with him. If he's got some sort of console, watch cartoons. Watch some of your old favorite cartoons. They're all on YouTube. I spent one Saturday just watching Pinwheel from Nickelodeon. This is a couple years ago now. And it felt so great. Like, I woke up that morning and I was like, I'm going to watch Saturday morning cartoons today. And I did. And it was fun. Okay, so this is what I have for you today. The energy of play, childlikeness, your inner child. They're going to be tapping on you this week. Answer the call. You will not regret it. Take care, you guys.